Hey, what's going on, everybody? Paul Tech here, and welcome to my full detailed review of the ZTE Blade 10. Now, I've owned the Blade 10 for about 2 months now. I've used it as my daily driver. It's fully unlocked for all GSM carriers, and I've been using it on Cricket Wireless. It retails right now for $179 off ZTEUSA.com's website. You can also pick this up on Visible Wireless for around $149. I want to send a big shout out to Z Community ZTE for sending this device out to me for review. Now, let's go ahead and talk about design and build here, and take a look at the right hand side. You got your volume rockers there and this nice red colored power button. I really like the fact that the power button is red colored and they are spaced pretty good between the volume rockers and the power button, and they're nice, easy to reach. The buttons nice and responsive, no issues there. Now to the bottom, you got your microphone, Type-C charging port, and you also get a single down-firing speaker. I want to talk about the audio that is coming from that single down-firing speaker, because in my experience, it is excellent. You get some good audio quality coming from that single down-firing speaker. It actually sounds a lot better than other devices in the same price range. Now take a listen here to some sample music that is playing, but I gotta let you know right now, if you're into audio on your smartphones, this down-firing speaker, even though it's just a single down-firing speaker, it is excellent. It's crystal clear, it has a good amount of bass to it, and I've really enjoyed just listening to music, and as you can hear, it just sounds great. And also, when it comes to audio, you're getting a great feature here, which is the DTS. The DTS really makes a huge difference when you are playing games, watching movies, and listening to music. It really enhances the audio experience, and there are ways of customizing this feature so you can get that perfect audio coming from that single down-firing speaker, as well as with the headphone jack. So if you're using headphones, it's going to sound great. It's just like the single down-firing speaker. I'm going to give you an example here with the DTS. As you can see, it is on right now. So as soon as I hit turn it off, you can hear the difference. There's a huge difference there. And moving to the top of the ZTE Blade 10, you get a noise cancellation mic, and you get a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Now going back to the audio, the headphone jack produces some excellent audio. So no matter what headphones I was using, they all sound great. They all sound good. On the left-hand side, you got a tray there, which is going to be housing your SIM card. You can also input a micro SD card and expand storage up to 2 terabytes. We'll talk more about that later in this review. To the back now, you're going to get a dual camera setup. So a 16 megapixel f1.8 aperture camera and a secondary 5 megapixel f2.2 aperture. As you can see, the dual camera and the LED flash does protrude out a little bit from the back of the Blade 10 there. You get a fingerprint sensor on board. You're also going to get ZTE branding. Now with the back of the ZTE Blade 10 here, it might resemble glass, especially from a distance. It would look like it's a glass panel, but it is glossy plastic. I haven't used a case on my Blade 10, and it's withstood some drops pretty good. I got some scuffs on it, but that's about it. So build quality is pretty decent in my opinion. And the Blade 10 is definitely comfortable to hold in the hand. You get a nice curved back, and you get some good weight distribution with from the top to the bottom of the device. Now it is a pretty large device, so if you got smaller hands, you probably have to use 2 hands to reach the top of the status bar, but there are some tips and tricks that you can use to pull down that status bar just with the fingerprint sensor, which I'll demonstrate in just a moment. Now when it comes to the battery life, again, a 3,200 milliamp hour non-removable battery. Battery life is fantastic in my opinion. I can easily get a day and a half, and I'm a heavy user. So don't let that number fool you, 3,200 milliamps, because it's definitely optimized very well, and I don't use any of the power saving features, just the adaptive battery. That's the only thing I use. But let me go ahead and share with you the screen on time that I have on my ZTE Blade 10 here. So as you can see, a little over 5 hours. So if you're a light to moderate user, you'll probably get 2 days off a full charge with this battery. Another great feature you're getting here with the ZTE Blade 10 is quick charge. So you got the Type-C charging on this. So charging up the Blade 10 really doesn't take all that long to charge up either. So again, you're going to get some excellent battery life with this device. Now moving on to that fingerprint sensor, it's in a perfect location. My finger just rests comfortable to the back of the fingerprint sensor. I got no problems reaching it, and it works extremely well. It's not super fast, but it is extremely accurate. And like I said, if you need to pull down that status bar, you can actually use the back of the fingerprint sensor to pull down the status bar. You can also use that fingerprint sensor to open apps and take a selfie, take a photo. Now, you also got facial recognition here, and the facial recognition works extremely well also. Again, it's not going to be super fast compared to like some other higher end flagship phones, but you do got facial recognition on this, and it's very accurate and it works each and every time. So good security features. Now let's go ahead and talk about that display now. So a 6.3-inch display. It's a very large display. It's 19 by 9 aspect ratio on this, full HD plus. I love this display. I love big display phones, and you are going to get a really nice 1080p panel here, 401 pixels per inch, so 2280 by 1080 resolution, and all the wallpapers, as you can see there, look great. It has nice color reproduction. You're going to get a water drop notch to the top of the Blade 10. You're also going to get an LED notification light on the upper left-hand corner, which I love that this has an LED notification light. Even other smartphones that are cost more than the Blade 10 don't even have an LED notification light. Pretty slim bezels, as you can see, going along the sides there. And then just to the bottom, you get a fairly, it's not super large chin to the bottom, but, as you can see, it is maybe a little bit larger compared to some other smartphones. But I don't mind it whatsoever. It definitely gives me a place to hold the ZTE Blade 10. And like I said, really good when you are watching videos on this. It's a great 1080p panel. Hardly any color shifting whatsoever, if not any, and great audio experience coming from this device. And the highest resolution, like I said, 1080p, 60 frames per second. All the videos ran perfect, no blacking out issues whatsoever. So I've enjoyed watching YouTube videos, movies on this device. And again, that cutout is for your front-facing camera. So it is going to be a 16 megapixel front-facing camera, and you can pinch in to zoom, or you can watch with the blackout pillars to the side. It's entirely up to you. Another feature that I like is the fact that you can hide the on-screen buttons just by swiping up. The on-screen buttons will appear, and then there's a little arrow to the far left-hand side. You just press on that arrow, and it will go ahead and disable or hide the on-screen buttons. So I really like that feature. I like that you have that available. Like I mentioned earlier, the ZTE Blade 10 is fully unlocked for all GSM carriers. So you can go ahead and use this on T-Mobile, Metro by T-Mobile, AT&T, Cricket Wireless. I've been using this on Cricket Wireless, and it's been working perfect. No issues whatsoever. Good 4G LTE connectivity. I just popped in my Cricket Wireless SIM card, and all the APN settings just downloaded automatically. Also want to talk about Wi-Fi connectivity. It's been working great. This does connect to the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. No issues there whatsoever. It doesn't disconnect on me. Also with Bluetooth connectivity, I'm able to connect this to Bluetooth devices. You also get NFC on board. So if you want to go ahead and set up your Google Pay on this, you can definitely do so. You have that available. When it comes to the call quality coming from the ZTE Blade 10, calls have been coming in perfectly fine. They're nice and clear. Callers at the other end say they hear me with no problems. Another area, as you can see, notifications. I got the notifications badge right there on my messages. So notifications have been coming in great. And when it comes to the keyboard, as you can see, you are running Gboard, and you get so many great features with this keyboard. And I'll go ahead and show you just some of the features that you have available, just in case you're not familiar. So you got ways of searching for specific things within the keyboard there, and you get all these other additional options that are available. Now, when it comes to the keyboard sensitivity, the haptic feedback is excellent. You get good vibration motor on the ZTE Blade 10. So when you're typing, you can definitely feel it. And I'll go ahead and share with you also some of the different emojis you have available. I always include this in my full review and unboxing video. Try to give you the most information that I possibly can in these videos. Now let's go ahead and move on and talk about what's under the hood of the Blade 10. So you're going to get the MediaTek Helio P60 processor, clocked at 1.9 gigahertz. You also got the Mali G7 too. Now, don't be fooled by that MediaTek processor. I know probably some of you in the past have said, no way, I'm not going to use MediaTek processors, but they've definitely come a long way. And when it comes to these sensors, as you can see, there is so many different sensors on board here with the ZTE Blade 10. So you got a nice variety of sensors there. So when it comes to the performance of the ZTE Blade 10, it's been a very solid performing device. I've been using this as a daily driver, like I said, and pretty much all the applications I've downloaded, they've been running perfectly fine, no apps crashing whatsoever. And like I mentioned earlier, it does have the MediaTek P60 processor, it's octa-core, and it does have 3 gigabytes of RAM. And again, don't be fooled by that MediaTek processor. I know I've said it in the past too, I wasn't the biggest fan of them, but they definitely have improved over the years, and the Blade 10 is just optimized so well. Great battery life. You're going to get some good solid performance from that MediaTek processor, and it just keeps the Blade 10 just chugging along perfectly fine. You get some decent RAM management as well because, again, 3 gigabytes of RAM. So pretty much, for all the apps that I use, jumping on Facebook, Twitter, doing Google searches, watching YouTube videos, using the Pluto application for watching movies, everything just runs perfectly fine. No slowdown, no hiccups, no stutters, no apps crashing and freezing. I even got a live wallpaper on my Blade 10 here just to show you I can have that open and running in the background, and I can have apps open, and everything is just running smooth, and there's really nothing negative to report back to you. Again, when it comes to performance, I've just had a really positive experience with the Blade 10. GPS works really well on this. I'm able to get to my destinations, and I never lost my location. So I'm very happy with the performance of the Blade 10. Moving on, I want to go ahead and pull down that status bar one more time because I want to share with you some of the features here. Like, you got the Wi-Fi calling available. You also got the screenshot mode baked into the Blade 10 where you can scroll and capture, which is good for capturing articles and just long text messages and emails. It's a good feature you got there. And you also got your hotspot, you got your screen recording option on board, DTS sound, NFC, and then again, some additional ones to the bottom there. So good stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about the internal storage of the ZTE Blade 10. So 64 gigs of internal storage, which is a good amount of storage for this device. And you could also input that micro SD card and expand the storage. So on the left-hand side, you got your tray there. I went ahead and just put it in 32 gigs, and that is more than enough for what I need my smartphone to do. What's great about the ZTE Blade 10 is you're not just getting portable storage, you're getting adaptable storage with the ZTE Blade 10. I really wanted to point this out. So you can move your apps, your files, your media all to the SD card, which is a great feature. And the Android version the Blade 10 is currently running is Android 9, and it is on September 5th, 2019 security patch. So it is a little bit behind on the security patch. Hopefully we'll see ZTE just continue to roll out security patch updates, and hopefully we'll see that next version of Android on the ZTE Blade 10. But like I mentioned, performance is good. You get some good solid features baked into the Blade 10. All right, so moving on, I went ahead and ran the Geekbench test, and I came with a score of 281 for the single core score, 1,411 for the multi-core score. As you can see, those are the scores for the Antutu benchmark tests. So I always try to include those for those that are interested. And when it comes to gameplay on the ZTE Blade 10, you can definitely gameplay on this device. Games like Temple Run, Subway Surfers, those type of games are going to run perfectly fine. Now, if you go more towards the more graphic intense games, like Asphalt 9, for instance, I was able to download it, run it. You might see drops in frames with more higher graphic intense games. But most importantly, I didn't notice any overheating issues, and the games never crashed. If you're interested in PUBG, I was able to play it at medium graphic settings. And like I said, you can definitely gameplay on this. More graphic intense games, you might see some drops in frames though. Now, moving on and talking about the cameras now. So again, a dual camera setup to the back, 60 megapixel plus a 5 megapixel camera. And you get some good options that are available like filters. You got a beauty mode on board. And then you also get this live photos that I really like. It actually works really well. And then you also get, of course, your flash or HDR option. I was really impressed with the photo capturing capabilities here. I mean, they really capture some really crisp photos. As you can see, notifications coming in. perfect. And you also get portrait mode, which works pretty good as well. You get that nice blur effect while taking photos. And the video recording is going to be 1080p, 30 frames per second. I would say just have a steady hand while you are recording to reduce motion blur. But for the price of this device, I'm pretty pleased with the performance of the camera. Here's some sample pics. Took it on the Blade 10. Well, that's pretty much it for my full review of the ZTE Blade 10. Again, I think this is a good, solid performing device. You can pick it up at ZTEUSA.com for $179, and you can pick it up at Visible Wireless for $149, and you can probably even get it at a more affordable price depending on the promotions that are going on. But links to ZTEUSA.com and Visible Wireless in the description below of this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this full review. I love making these videos and sharing my experience with all of you out there. And a big shout out to ZTE, the Z community, for sending this device out to me for review. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not connected with the Z community, link to Z community is going to be in the description below of this video. So if you got a ZTE Blade 10, a ZTE device of any type, join the community. Some great people there, great discussions. You get a lot of good information regarding your ZTE device. And once again, everybody, I appreciate each and every one of you taking the time to watch this review and my other videos. If you can, please hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel for more future videos. I'm definitely going to be providing more full reviews in the future. I love making these videos, sharing my experience with all of you out there, and hopefully these videos do help you out. Well, once again, everybody, this is Paul Tech, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.